so my name's Katie. I've been interested in the paranormal since forever, and it was mostly in adulthood that I went to paranormal events, ones that were organised by others and some organised by myself and friends. That's why we're doing this now. So quite a lot of experience in paranormal investigation, and it's something I've loved forever. I'm a numerologist, so I do life purpose readings for people. I read the tarot. I'm into Reiki, sound healing, anything spiritual basically really fascinates me. I think my most memorable paranormal event was Graiseley Old Hall, and I'd taken EVP recordings all evening. When I got home, the only recording on there was a Gregorian chant with like a deep throat. It was like it sounded like gibberish. But when we played it back and reversed it, it was actually the Lord's Prayer being said in quite a demonic voice, and it had the Gregorian music in the background, which was definitely something we never heard or played during that investigation. So that was for me.
Hi, my name's Mel. I've been interested in the paranormal since I was quite young. Actually, overhearing my grandparents talking about when they used to host seances was like a real kind of pull for me.
My family did that.
And it really intrigued me as to whether there was something else there, and whether we could communicate with spirits. I kind of dabbled with things when I was younger. I also had some ghostly experiences of my own, which kind of intrigued me and that I couldn't explain. And then in sort of later years, I've been on some paranormal investigations, and I was really excited to get the opportunity to join these two amazing ladies and be part of Chiltern Paranormal. One of my paranormal experiences, I'd been working in a pub, and I drove my friend back up to university in Hull in the early hours of the morning, but we didn't actually get there until probably 7:30, 8 o'clock the next day, so I'd been up for more than 24 hours. I was very, very tired. I'd been to this house before, and actually we had experiences in this house before, but I'll save that for another day. On this particular occasion, I was sent to a room that I'd never been before to sleep, and I had to go up a spiral staircase and into this room, and as I was laying down trying to go to sleep, I could just hear what sounded like somebody packing in a hurry, suitcases being zipped, things being dragged across the floor, drawers being opened. You could just hear, I could picture somebody frantically chucking stuff into a suitcase.
Packing and leaving fast.
Yeah, exactly. So when I eventually got up and I spoke to my friend, I said, "Oh man, your neighbours were in a rush this morning. It sounded like they were packing to go somewhere in a hurry." And she said, "Oh, what, the neighbours to the right?" And I said, No, it's the neighbours to the left. And she took me outside, and to the side of her building, there was literally nothing. There were some trees, but they were set right back, so it would have been the garden. It wasn't actually touching the house at all. But this area was in Hull, Beverley Road, and I believe it was heavily bombed during the war. So I wonder if there was once the building.
Did she confirm that they had seen stuff and that they had heard things, what you heard?
Yeah, so we'd been there on a previous occasion. There was about 12 of us sleeping in one room, and we all heard things in that room.
Wow.
They'd heard giggling, the radio would turn itself on and off, their kitchen caught fire, we had doors that you could only open if you knocked on them, and really weird, crazy stuff going on.
Funny, doors that are only open if you knock on them, that would freak me out.
So outside of my day job, I'm a Reiki master teacher. I read tarot, I practice EFT and rapid tapping, and I'm also an artist.
My name's Teresa. I'm also interested in the paranormal. I've been interested in it for a long time, since I was a little girl. I used to have a fascination with serial killers, which really upset my mum at one point. I like to hang around up West Wickham Caves a lot as a kid. In my spare time, I'm interested in spirituality. I read tarot cards, do crystal healing and Reiki. I've been to many paranormal events as a guest and also worked on them, which is good fun. And I've met up with Mel and Katie, and we're hoping we're going to have some fun doing our own.
Okay, so we thought we'd talk to you a little bit about the equipment we use in our investigations. So the first one I'm going to talk about is, this is an infrared camera. So what this does is it's good for working in dark situations. You can see everything around you at night, and you can see any changes in the atmosphere as well. So this is my favourite of the paranormal devices.
I'm going to talk to you about dowsing rods.
Yep.
So dowsing rods have been used for many, many years and can be great for finding things like water, and well, that's one of the traditional uses for them, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
However, dowsing rods can also be used to interact with spirits. You can ask a question, and by the way that they move, so you can establish first of all by asking it to show you yes, and when it moves, that will be the yes prompt essentially, and then ask for no, and if it moves a different way, then that's your response for no, as it's just moved outwards. That's generally my response for no. So you can communicate with spirits by asking yes and no questions, and essentially the dowsing rods will move in whichever direction the spirit wants to manipulate them. Now, one thing to be said about dowsing rods is that they're not necessarily 100% accurate, because obviously there are a lot of factors that come into play, including the human holding the dowsing rods, and any kind of twitches or anything like that you have may influence the way that the rods move.
Yeah.
So that's just something to take into account. But actually they can be quite an effective tool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We went on a great training day for them, didn't we?
Yeah.
Which side's
It
good
was
on
really
that?
good. And
Yeah.
as we walked towards the trees and away from the trees, they really responded.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating device, but the thing is with paranormal is there's too much doubt with it at times. I mean, one twitch of the arm and it flies one way, and you sort of think, was that me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Teresa, what you doing?
Well, so this is an EMF meter. This measures electromagnetic fields. Spirits have the ability to manipulate these fields, and they can also answer simple yes or no questions. You know, we can ask them a question, they can put the light up to red for how strong their electromagnetic field is. They're really good to take out, especially at night, because it lights up and it's the most obvious thing you can see in a dark room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We found it really useful on most of our investigations. One thing I'd say though, before you use one of these, go round your location, especially if it's indoors, and just do a baseline and check that there's no electronics that could be affecting the EMF reader before you start, and make sure all your phones are off on aeroplane, because that will affect the EMF.
It will, yeah. You walk near it with your phone, it's straight up, isn't it?
And you've got to be really mindful of that and debunk anything that could have been close to an electric point or phone. So what I'll start next with is I will pull up this camera. Now this is our temperature camera.
That's the infrared one.
Thermal imaging.
Okay, so this is a infrared thermal imaging. So you've got night vision and thermal on this.
Yeah.
So this is just night vision, what I showed you first, but this is both. Does it record it onto a card?
Yes,
it does, doesn't it? This is really good because it not only shows you night vision, but also shows you changing temperatures in the room. And it just makes any entities easier to see, because they're often, you know, colder or hotter than the ambient temperature in a room.
So this is a cat ball. We use these when we're doing investigations. We place them out as trigger objects. So essentially spirit can manipulate these and make them light up. And typically I've chosen one that doesn't light up, so we'll try
Turn it on, darling, it was because I've turned it off.
There we
That's
go.
it.
So I don't know if you can see that on camera, but this one is currently glowing. So what we would do is we'd set them to on, and then we would place them somewhere, and as part of our investigation we may ask spirit to touch them or to do something with them in order to make them light up. They can be quite useful, and in fact in most investigations I've been on where we've had cat balls, they have lit up. Obviously again you need to debunk people walking around floorboards, things like that that could be moving it. But actually on a recent investigation, I believe we had one on the table and it started vibrating.
Yes.
Yeah, which was quite exciting.
Wow.
It actually
So-
buzzed on the table, didn't it?
Yeah,
that
It was
really blew my
strange.
mind.
And we debunked that. We went round the table leaping up and down and running round and all sorts to see if
Yeah,
we
it's
could
quite
make it happen
fun to
again. It literally didn't happen again, so we can't explain exactly what set that off other than potentially spirit, but
Well, yeah, because that's anything can be a trigger device as well. So you can use one of these. You can use. I've known people use wind chimes as well to get responses. And one of the other devices I have, it's just like one of them counter bells, and spirit just has to touch it on the top there, and that's another form of trigger device. But anything could be a trigger device, can't it? Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we've got REM pod. This emits a low electromagnetic field. It alerts us to any change in our surroundings when spirits are present. When it's got lights, and I think I'll just turn it on, and we switched it off because it was quite annoying. So if a spirit comes near it and touches this, it makes the noise, it makes the lights light up, and obviously, again, in the dark, we can see that and hear it.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
Next we have, this is the EMF reader.
Recorder.
EMF reader. Say it again.
Voice recorder.
That's it,
Digital
thank
voice
you.
Recorder.
So this is a digital voice recorder, so we place this in the areas that we are investigating, and it's really sensitive and it picks up all the background noise. So if spirit wanted to communicate with us in any way, this is really good to pick that up, but it's really sensitive as well, and if you handle it, it will create a lot of distortion. And if you make a noise yourself, it is really good that you acknowledge that and say, that was me, because when you listen to it again, you're going to think that those noises are paranormal. So be mindful of the noises you make when you're using this device.
This is a motion detection sensor. You've probably seen these in and around your house. This is a portable one, I believe. You can put these out in areas that you want to investigate, and essentially you could fix a camera or something onto them to see whether or not it lights up. Anything that crosses its path will cause it to light up. So you just need to be sure that there isn't anything that could potentially make it light up. There aren't any pets or anything that could be moving around that could cause this to go off without it being a true reading. But again, these are great tools to have and fairly inexpensive.
It emits quite a sound as well. It's quite loud.
So it alerts you when it
Yes,
sees,
yeah,
oh, that's
yeah,
great.
yeah.
So it lets you know.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So, and I've got a remote control, so we can put it somewhere, remote control, and
Brilliant.
just walk away.
Perfect.
Did you hear that? That
Yes.
just sounded like something. Wow.
Yes.
I did.
That, and it was a door bang before it as well.
Yes.
Was it Gary?
No, Gary's not there.
Was that a voice or a meow?
Sounded
It
like
went
meow.
meow.
It
Yes.
sounded like when the cats are saying,
I
meow,
heard it.
I want my dinner.
I really hope even a bit of this is being caught on my microphone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
Anyway,
go.
one of my favourite things is my spirit chat box. We just put this on and it bleeps and it comes up with words, and it's so good because we'll have a conversation and this will actually come up with words we've mentioned, wouldn't it, connected to what we've been talking about.
The photograph earlier.
Yeah, photograph. I was saying about I'm going to use a photo of me 20 years ago when I was younger and thinner, and it came up with a photograph. It's amazing, really. I'm really pleased with this piece of equipment. I like this one.
We all have a favourite, don't we? Yeah, we all have a favourite. So what I'll talk about next is, I might have to stand up for this one, but we also have communication devices that we use to talk to spirit. The first one I'll talk about is, this is just a table we use to communicate with spirit. Now it tips for us one side to the other, and it can actually be used for intelligent communication from spirit. We can get yes/no responses, and we can of course ask questions that give those basic yes/no responses. I've had a lot of success with table tipping in the past. There's been some times where the table spins like mad and goes crazy and walks out the room, and other times where it does absolutely nothing. So you're very much, it depends how the spirit feels on any one day and how much energy they have. But this is a really good and fascinating device you can use to communicate with spirit.
Okay, alright, I'm going to go for this device here. So, this device here is known as a spirit board. These can have a bit of a negative connotation about them, but actually if they're used properly, it is possible to use them safely. You always need to make sure that you shut it down. So when you're using a spirit board, you'll use something like this, which is a planchette, which people will place a finger on and essentially spirit can then utilise the energy of the people that have got their fingers on the planchette to move around and respond to questions and spell out words. So we've got numbers and letters, yes, no and goodbye on here. I said again, you know, some people are very wary of these and we totally respect that. So on an investigation we would never expect somebody to use tools that they didn't feel comfortable with. However, they can be useful in investigations.
Well, I have to admit, I'm one of those persons that don't use it. Yeah. I'm always the onlooker. I make the notes.
What we've also got to remember is that we're safe with it, and that we're just always respectful to spirit, and make sure you close it down afterwards, and that's basically politely saying goodbye, everyone saying goodbye, and turning that planchette over to release the spirit.
Yeah,
because you don't want to leave without closing it down. Really important.
Yeah. So a trail camera. We set this up. This can be set up to take photographs or video. We can put that somewhere, strap it onto a chair, onto a tree, anywhere. As soon as something comes in front of it, it'll video it, or it'll take a photo, and we can look at it later on the card that's inside it. These have been proven to pick some really weird stuff up.
Wow,
and interestingly, they do night vision as well.
Yes, they're night vision, yeah.
Those sort of cameras pick up Bigfoot as well.
Yeah.
I know you don't believe in Bigfoot, but I've seen some really brilliant stuff on paranormal shows that I'm obsessed with.
Yeah, I was actually looking at a thing of some trail cam photos the other day, and there's some really freaky stuff that we picked up on them.
Really?
Yeah.
There's like a weird monster that I thought, please tell me that's someone dressed up, because if that exists,
yeah.
What haven't we done yet?
What have we
What
done?
about this one?
Yes.
Is this? So
Is that an Alice?
No,
this is a little
that's
spirit box.
It's
The radio.
the radio that sweeps.
Yeah, so this device basically sweeps through radio stations, and I think it does something crazy like 30 a second or something.
Yeah.
So it doesn't linger on any one radio station long enough to be able to pick up much of what's being said, but spirit can actually manipulate this and give you words, and in some cases entire sentences. It takes a bit of perseverance with this and listening through a lot of noise and white noise, etc., but they can be really useful.
Yeah. Then we've got our grid.
Oh, this is a good one.
So this is something we put up. We can put that, we'll just show it on the curtain behind the girls. We can lay this down, and if anything walks in front of it, it breaks the grid, which alerts our
see
attention.
that?
No, it's not doing it.
Oh, it's not?
No. Oh yes, go on. That's it.
If I put my hand or walk
Yeah.
in front of that.
I can see you now. Yeah.
Yep.
So as you can see, Katie's hand is breaking the grid, and we can leave that. We can leave that up and just sit and put a camera on there and just watch it and see if anything walks in front of it.
I guess we've got our cute little teddy bears here. Now, this one here, what's his name? He's a vibration bear. So he...
Oh, sorry.
He hasn't...
Don't go any further. I've just gone straight up to orange. Yes, it will.
What's that? What will we, if it will?
Yes, it will. It's just come up. You were saying about him, and it said yes, it will.
Yes, it will what?
Cut, vibrate.
Oh.
And that just shot, when you were talking, that just shot up to there.
So Rupert at the back here, our lovely Rupert, he responds to vibrations. So if we walk around him too much, we've got to be careful that we're not vibrating the floor and making him go off. So we would put him in areas where we're not really moving around, because there's too much margin for error, and you only have to walk past and it sets him off.
He works very much like the EMF meter.
Yeah, similar. Little Chiltern here, he's a trigger device. So is he switched on?
He is.
Yeah, so if any spirit or any energy touches him, he flashes to let you know that there's something in the vicinity. And Casper here, is he the same?
He does that, and he's also got the temperature on the front of him.
Oh, so he's got a temperature gauge as well, so he's a good one, our Casper.
He is.
So we've got our lovely Rupert, Casper and Chiltern, the little teddy family.
So this is a pendulum. Again, this is another piece of equipment that we can use to communicate with spirits by asking the spirit to manipulate the pendulum and get it to move. So again, a bit like dowsing rods, you can ask for the pendulum to show you which way is yes, which way is no. And then you can ask a series of questions, and depending on which way it moves will depend on whether it's yes or whether it's no. Again, just another thing to point out here, you know, it's something I'm physically holding it, so it can be manipulated by minor twitches and, you know, anything, vibrations from my body, and also maybe even subconscious movements I don't even realise I'm doing. So again, it's not something that we can 100% definitively prove, but it is a useful device.
Agreed, yeah, agreed.
Have we done the temperature?
No.
No.
So we also use a temperature gun. We can point it into a corner or an area we think is cold, and it reads the temperature for us. So we know it's 20.7 over there because it's a cold room. If I point it at Katie, obviously it shoots right up. You're 28.7. You're still alive.
Oh, that's good.
Right.
Got the trail count.
This is my body cam. So I just put this on my clothes and it literally records the whole evening. There's a lot to edit and go through, but it's really good for catching things when my other camera isn't on. So it catches everything that happens because it's just static and it runs all night. So you could be on a paranormal investigation, have another camera in your hand, look in one direction and miss something over here that this camera will always be watching. So it's really good to use when you turn off your camera or you lose attention. This camera is always alert and always watching. That's what I like most about this camera.